To the August 25th, 2021, the TRD public information session regarding the wildfires within the Thompson Nicola Regional District. My name is Priscilla Kazarian. I'm the information officer with the Thompson Nicola Regional District's Emergency Operations Center. We'd first, as the TRD, would like to acknowledge that we connect with many First Nations communities on our vast regional district. And today we are located on the Tecumseh-Atishilquepnik territory. The TRD appreciates the partnership we have and respect the territory and land that we gather on today. So today on the line, we have BC Wildfire to provide an update on the wildfires in the Thompson Nicola Regional District here in BC. Only within the Thompson Nicola Regional District is what we're speaking about today. I'd like to mention that contact information for BC Wildfire will be posted following this meeting today. This meeting is being recorded and it will also be posted on our Thompson Nicola Regional District YouTube as well as our website. So for our presenters today, if you could please state your name as well as your position with BC Wildfire as well as the area that you're reporting out onto. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to the Sparks Lake Complex.
Sorry, Greg Jonick, Fire Information Officer, and I am working on the Sparks Lake Complex, JONUK, as you can see on the tagline. And I'll give an update for the Sparks Lake Fire as well as the Tremont Fire. So the Sparks Lake Fire, it is around 89,626 hectares. One little bit of note there is we had it as high as 95,980 a few days ago, and that reduction of area as a result of more accurate mapping. The larger area as a result, was from satellite heat sensing, and then we were able to get some more accurate helicopter mapping as the smoke was venting and we had better visibility. We have about 80 folks on this fire in terms of firefighters, 12 pieces of heavy equipment, and also 18 structural protection personnel are still on the fire, as well as some assigned and shared helicopters. Fire behavior yesterday in the northwest flank, relatively quiet, taking advantage of the better weather for firefighting anyway. Crews were addressing hot spots near unguarded structures in the Tularik Lake, and they were also finalizing work on extinguishing hot spots between Tularik Lake and Vedette Lake. Generally, crews are strengthening guards with hose lays and demobilizing structural protection around cabins where it's no longer required. We've made good progress in the northwest flank, and so we'll be shifting more resources to the northeast, as that's where most of the activity is occurring. Crews also be dropped into more remote areas. That northeast area, there's lots of remote cabins, and folks will be dropped in there to address fire around those cabins. And crews are still working the head of the fire in the northeast and consolidating the fire edges along Heller Creek and Jemison for service roads. The other thing to pay attention to is that we're having ongoing conversations with the various jurisdictions, local governments, and continuing to downgrade recommendations, to give recommendations to downgrade the evacuation orders and alerts in accordance to risk. So that's playing across both the Sparks Fire and the Tremont Fire. Onto the Tremont Fire, which is further south of Sparks Lake. That's slightly smaller at 62,523 hectares. We've got 163 firefighters on that, 25 pieces of heavy equipment, and 18 structural protection people. Those are shared within the complex, so shared within the other fire, the Sparks Lake Fire that I was talking about before. And we've got 6 assigned and 2 complex shared helicopters. With regard to objectives, we have additional fire line resources expected over the next 2 days on this fire, and we have a combination of quick progress areas where it's conducive to firefighting, and then some other areas of thicker timber or different types of timber that require more time and attention. Direct attack is being utilized in the Glossy Mountain area, and we also have about 4 crews working in the Forge Creek area, which is south of Tonquois Lake. Folks are also working in southeast corner, establishing guard in the dairy and they're working from the southeast corner going north to the Dairy and Durand Lake area. And in that Durand area, break area, crews are also working ahead of the fire, finding and exposing hotspots. And on the south flank, crews continue to mop up and patrol areas along Logan Lake. And again, as I mentioned before on the previous fire, the downturn in weather, structural protection is being removed as appropriate in areas no longer at risk. And that's the report out for the Sparks Lake complex.
Thanks so much, Greg. I'm going to pass it on to the White Rock Lake wildfire from BC Wildfire.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Shaylee Stearns and I'm a fire information officer at the Kamloops Fire Center. Today I'm giving the update on behalf of the White Rock Lake information officers as they're just out in the field right now. So I think the biggest piece of information that people would be interested in today is that there is a couple planned ignitions going on today. The one that's currently happening that the information officer just informed me about is on the southeast flank of the White Rock Lake fire. So this planned ignition is going to be used to secure the fire perimeter burning north of Terrace Mountain and west towards the fire perimeter above Shorts Creek. With the forecasted and current southeast winds that they're seeing in the area, the ignition was ideal to go underway right now. So it'll be done by aerial ignitions, which means they're almost like little ping pong balls that are dropped from the helicopter, and they just start a small ground fire. Which is very low activity for a fire, and it just burns away those extra fuels and reduces the fuels that are in between the fire and the current guard that we have. So that really helps to secure that portion of the fire on that side. During the ignitions, the smoke will definitely be visible to the nearby communities. So this is including Kelowna, West Kelowna, Vernon, Lake Country, and Okanagan Indian Band. So just so everyone's aware, you're probably going to be seeing that right now, if not later throughout the afternoon. So just to be aware that in that area, that is the burning that's going on there. And then there's also on the east flank of the fire, there is heavy equipment that's being used to reestablish control lines that have previously been used from the Terrace Mountain fire back in 2009. So we're using those old control lines to tie into the pre-established guards that we have in that area. I believe there is also a planned ignition going on my apologies. That's the same planned ignition that is occurring right now. That'll also help tie into that area as well. And then yesterday as well, there was ground and aerial personnel who successfully completed a small scale planned ignition. This was about 350 hectares along the northeastern flank of the fire perimeter, so north of Newport Beach towards Irish Creek Road. So this ignition burned at a relatively low intensity fire and just along the understory, so it helped to remove that fuel there as well. The ignition was critical to securing that area east of the larger scale planned ignition that there was an information bulletin that went out for, but that'll be in the coming weeks when conditions are ideal for it. And I believe that's all the updates that I have for that fire. The size is still estimated at 81,301 hectares. And that's just some more mapping that's come in from it. And there's still 283 firefighters responding to the fire, as well as 12 helicopters and 60 pieces of heavy equipment and 102 structure personnel as well. So that's all the information I have for that one for today. That's just all I've been provided. And yeah, if there's any questions about it, I can try to answer them for that fire.
Great, thanks so much, Shaylee. I'm going to pass it over to the Lytton complex.
Good afternoon. My name is Shelley Bird. I'm fire information with the Lytton complex. The complex manages 4 different fires, 2 of which are fully in the Thompson Nicola Regional District. So the largest, of course, is the Lytton Creek wildfire, currently estimated at 83,876 hectares. And then below that is the George Road wildfire at 5,017. Fire activity has been really low. The weather, we've got some rain, some cooler nights, and that's really kept the activity low. It's allowed us to really get in on the ground and complete some containment work and suppression. So a lot of groundwork happening. We have crews heading into this north end on the ground to look at suppression activities, and then down in along George Road, along the Highway 1 corridor, wrapping up some guard work. There is an old guard that's being hand cleared and debris piled up, and they were doing some brush pile burning over the last 2 days and wrapping that up today. So there is potentially smoke in the area from the brush piles in the Scuppa Creek area. The biggest focus on this fire has been in this eastern excursion, the part of the fire that goes to the east of Highway 8. Priority is to secure the southern end of the fire to protect the communities below to the south and southeast. A machine guard, heavy equipment has been completing, starting from Highway 8, heading to the east, and from 97C heading to the west. That guard is pretty much complete, and ground crews are getting in there just to clean it up and make sure things look good on the ground. As well, they're finishing up the same guard on the east. That is also being connected along the north end, using some hand clearing guard work, some widening along an existing Forest Service road, and then some machine guard along that northern edge. So really trying to make sure this perimeter holds, and meanwhile also conducting fire suppression activities with ground crews and helicopter bucketing in that area. The positive is, even with the warmer temperatures, we haven't seen a lot of activity in that area. Today we're again warm and dry with potential for wind this afternoon. So that'll be a real, test of how things are looking. Watching for any fire activity in that area and bucketing and ground crews on that as we can. Also working from Highway 8 to the west on a fire guard. That work is pretty much complete as well. A lot of this work taking place in collaboration with the Lower Nicola Indian Band. And then along the Highway 8 corridor, ensuring safety in that area. There's been a lot of work, fire crews accessing that area. We've had BC Hydro in there, Ministry of Transportation, as well as the Regional District, to ensure that the corridor is safe and that residents in that area are informed of what's happening. We do hope to have some recommendations from a fire behavior perspective in the next day or two to contribute to decisions on that corridor going forward. In areas where alerts, we have had some orders that have been lifted, orders that have been downgraded to alerts, and some alerts that have been lifted. And in those areas, structural protection units have been removing equipment. They're maintaining equipment where it's necessary, including in the Noyach area at this time. And definitely see what's happening going forward, and hoping to have further news on this corridor soon. Fire behavior is looking really good. Very happy with the progress, and that's it. If there's any questions on the Lytton complex, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much, Shelley, and we'll pass it over to the Cascade complex.
All right. Thanks, everyone. This is Claire Allen. I'm Fire Information Officer with BC Wildfire Service, currently assigned to the Cascades complex, which includes the Garrison Lake wildfire to the south by Princeton and the July Mountain wildfire to the south of Merritt. And that's the one I'll be focusing on today with respect to the Thompson Nicola Regional District being the audience here. Let me just share my screen. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. This is our latest perimeter map. So the fire is estimated to be 19,080 hectares in size. We've got 69 wildland firefighters, 22 structural protection specialists, 10 helicopters, 22 pieces of heavy equipment, 11 danger tree assessors and fallers, 10 industry personnel working with us, and I'm part of a 21-person incident management team, primarily staffed with individuals who are here from Alberta Wildfire. Structural protection remains in place in affected communities. That includes Murray Lake, Kingsvale, Cane Valley, and Brookmere. The last update that I had from BC Wildfires, from BC Hydro, was that they were finalizing work around the Coquihalla communities, so Murray Lake, Kingsvale, and as well as Cane Valley, and that should be done soon. And the power line reconstruction should be done in the next couple of days for Brookmere, but is still ongoing as there was significant loss to the power poles, as well as a lot of hot spots that still remain under the power lines in the access road to Brookmere. For our weather today, today is kind of an interesting day, a bit of a test for what remains for fire activity, as well as for our control lines that crews and heavy equipment have been working hard to put in place. We're seeing warmer and drier temperatures, high teens, low 20s across the fire, and the winds are forecast to be southwest 10 to 20 kilometers an hour, gusting up to 30. And I just got a message from our fire behavior analyst who's out in the Cane Valley right now, and we're seeing southwest 15 gusting to 25 at the Cane Valley weather station that we've set up there. So definitely a more significant weather event than we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but nothing that we're overly concerned about. For the fire right now, our key areas of focus are around impacted communities, critical infrastructure, and the highway corridor. So we do have folks that are working all around Murray Lake, as well as Kingsvale. For this part of the fire, the kind of northwest flank, I guess we could say, to the west of Highway 5, we do have heavy equipment that is mobilizing in this area off the Maca-Murray Forest Service Road and utilizing the bottle top in order to build a containment line up in this area, which had not been done previously. Guard is going in all along here in the Cane Valley Road, and we have heavy equipment working around Seymour Lake here and over to Fig Lake and tying in this finger here, currently using skidder tanks to suppress any hot spots that are in the area. We are still seeing quite a bit of heat on this east side of Shovel Nose Mountain. Primarily, we are using aviation resources, so bucketing helicopters to put water on these areas to cool down fire behavior. And our crews are primarily focused in Brookmere as well as the Cane Valley. So we've got one of our BC unit crews is going from Highway 5 to the West Shovel Nose area and doing direct attack on hotspots. They had been looking at opportunities to do a planned ignition, but decided that direct attack was just the best method right now. So that's what we're proceeding with. And I think that's pretty much my main update. I'm trying to think if I have anything else, but those are sort of the main objectives, and any other information as we have it, both in terms of conditions, resources, and operational updates will be posted on the website. And just a reminder to folks, I am getting a lot of emails and inquiries about the current status in communities and about BC Wildfire Service's recommendation to the Thompson Nicola Regional District on evacuation orders and alerts. And just a reminder that these are very active work sites. All of those items that I just discussed have a lot of personnel, a lot of equipment, and a lot of high risk to public safety attached to them. So just a reminder to folks to please stay out of the wildfire workspace and respect the hard work that our personnel are doing on the ground to try to get folks home as soon and as safely as possible. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
Great, thanks so much, Claire. I do believe that concludes our BC Wildfire update, unless there's any additional information before you sign off that anyone would like to add. If not,
I think you did say that there was just a bit more questions around the recommendations that we put in for alerts and orders. If you want me to touch base on that.
sure, that'd be great, Shaylee.
Yeah, so I think we've covered it once already in one of our previous meetings here, but when we make the recommendations for alerts or orders, there's a lot of factors that go into considering these, and this includes putting them in and both taking them off. So we're looking at fire activity in the area as well as the weather patterns that are current and that are scheduled for later on in the week or the coming days. So there's definitely things that we consider when putting these orders in or taking them off. And the goal is to get everyone home as safely and as quickly as we can and make sure that everyone is safe. So as soon as that we know there's a limited risk to those areas or no risk at all to those areas, that's when we'll start to remove or downgrade or make recommendations to remove or downgrade the orders, and then make recommendations to remove the alerts for those areas once they are deemed safe. And I think that about covers it from our end for that.
Great, thanks so much. And yeah, just as Shaylee's saying, once BC Wildfire makes recommendations to the Thompson Nicola Regional District, this is when we implement those recommendations, whether it be downgrades from alerts to all clears or orders to alerts, and we then share them out via all of our social channels, on our website, press releases, as well as the point alerting system. So but yeah, so if there's not anything else to add from BC Wildfire, feel free to sign off and get on to your busy day. I'm just going to jump into our update from the Thompson Nicola Regional District as well. I'm going to share my screen. We've had definitely some changes the last few days since our last meeting. As you can see here, a lot more green. I'll start up top here. So with regards to the Young and Sparks Lake fire, we've had orders downgraded to all clears as well as alerts to all clears in the area of Sparks Lake. So as you can see, the green area on the map that I'm showing you are all clears. The yellowy orange are alerts, and the red is what remains on order. So definitely anyone on the call today can go onto the TNRD website and view this dashboard as well. As mentioned on every meeting, we go over how to find an address, and you definitely can search your address in this find address or place search bar here. As soon as we downgrade our alerts, or as soon as we downgrade our orders, whether it be to all clear or order to alert, they're automatically posted in this dashboard. So absolutely, this is the dashboard that we utilize in our Emergency Operations Center. So if you are looking for your address, please use this dashboard to search it, because it's trusted across the board. We've also had some all clears in the Tremont Creek area. You can see here some green showing up on the board, and some also all clears up in the Momich Lake area. So for a total all clear properties, we've had 110 properties go to all clear the last few days. So that's some good news. As well as approximately 24 properties being reduced from order to alert. As BC Wildfire mentioned, they're still on the ground. There's definitely still some action going on. And once they make the recommendation to us to downgrade from orders to alerts in some of these remaining red areas, we absolutely will be implementing those. We're hoping for the next few days to get some more recommendations, but again, we'll be communicating those out to through all of our channels, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, or press releases. If you haven't already, sign up for our Voyant Alert system, because we do communicate any downgrades through the system as well. They're informational updates through the Voyant Alerting system, but we do communicate those through the Voyant Alerting system. So that's all really for our updates with regards to downgrades and any orders or alerts. Over the last week or so, we haven't seen any new movement towards alerts or orders. So that's some good news. The weather's definitely reflecting well as the fight on the ground and in the air. So that's great news, and we're happy to lifting some of these areas to all clear. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. So there's some questions here. Can you please provide background on why there appears to be such reluctance and downgrade orders and alerts in the northern part of the Sparks Lake spot fire, specifically on the west edge of Bonaparte Lake? There is a direct transition from all clear areas and areas under evacuation order. Are we sure evacuation alerts would not be just as effective for some of these areas, given the distance to the fire locations greatly reduced fire activity and favorable weather? So it's definitely, if BC Wildfire is still on, they can absolutely shed some light on this. But as mentioned when they were on the call earlier, there's definitely still work being done on the ground. And when alerts and orders remain in place, all factors, including public safety, are taken into consideration. So in these recommendations, whether we to downgrade alerts or orders to all clears or from orders to alerts are made via recommendation from BC Wildfire. So this definitely with favorable weather in the last few days, and it sounds like some really great work being done on the fires, and the ideal over the next few days and weeks, we'll see more trending in this direction with regards to downgrading. But that's what I can give you for that information right now. The question in the chat, is Dominic Lake still on evacuation order? So in order to check that, you definitely can use the interactive dashboard in order to search Dominic Lake. If you type it in, you definitely will have an address populated, and you can then zoom to Dominic Lake. I'm just quickly doing this now. I'm on Dominic Lake FSR, and it's currently, the status is evacuation order. Answer that question in the chat. So I hope that gives a general update to everybody overall from the Thompson Nicola Regional District's perspective. You know, definitely it's been a wild summer for fire season, and we really thank everybody for your patience, and we very sympathize for everybody who's been impacted this year. We have a TNRD Resiliency and Recovery Center set up. It's still running on the North Shore brick and four walls office, as well as you can contact them via email or phone. All the information is on our TNRD website. Please keep in mind that the days have been reduced, so it's no longer 7 days a week. They are closed Sundays. However, it's still their regular hours, which is 8:30 to 4:30. So for those of you who are evacuees, who have suffered structure loss, maybe need to speak with the TNRD Resiliency and Recovery Center with regards to next steps and moving forward, please reach out to them, as they have many resources they can connect you with, as well as to start that process. Thank you everyone who has signed up for our Voyant alerting system. We have quite the large amount of participants from this year. Voyant Alert did reach out to us. We have the most participants in the Thompson Nicola Regional District out of all BC districts. So that's some good news, and we definitely use that channel to communicate this information to everyone. So if you're not on the Voyant alerting system, please sign up for that, as we do again communicate all of our changes, including downgrades to any orders or alerts to all clears via that system. Again, so our intention to hold these meetings will remain frequently. So we're essentially aiming for once a week and once a weekend to hold these TNRD BC Wildfire meetings to continue on. And definitely please continue submitting your questions. It definitely gives information on what we want people to ask, or what we know people are asking, so that we can identify those questions when we are meeting. I'm just monitoring the chat here to see if we have any other questions that the TNRD can answer. I'm just looking here. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat here. We're having some specific questions around, is the branch north along Highway 12 considered extinguished? And that's regard to the Lytton Creek Fire branch. So for that question, as I don't believe the Lytton complex is on the call any longer. So what I would suggest for any specific questions related to fire behavior or a specific resources on the fires, please contact BC Wildfire. Their contact information is posted once we post this video, but they also, if you go to their website, there's a Fires of Note page, which they update frequently with information relating to the fires of note, as well as their contact information's on that page as well. There's another question around how far the fire is from Dominic. So please go on to the Fires of Note page and contact BC Wildfire for that information. So with regards to that as well, for any roads, perfect, thank you. For any roads closures or road conditions, please reference the Drive BC website as well. They have an interactive dashboard, but also a listing of all closures and conditions. So please reference the Drive BC website for that information. And that really does conclude our update for the TNRD today. Again, referencing the interactive dashboard, feel free to reach out to our Emergency Operations Center. We are still running 7 days a week. Hours are from 8:30 and the evening hours range to about 4:30 to 5 recently, but feel free to reach out either by phone, by email, as well as you can reach out to us on Facebook. We are monitoring our Facebook messages as well. Please ensure that you're watching Twitter, Facebook, Voyant Alert, our press releases, as well as all your local news outlets for any updates on the current fire season. So really that concludes our update today. It was a quick one. Our intention is to hold another one this weekend, so please stay tuned for that. And thank you everyone for taking time to listen in today. I hope you have a safe afternoon.